The entertainment industry stands at the precipice of change unlike anything we have seen in the last 100 years, and it's coming. It's coming within years, not decades, but years. It could change the entire way our society interacts with entertainment. Hollywood is already changing dramatically, with massive financial decisions happening and cascading all around us. We'll explain to you what is on the way. It's one of the biggest topics that we'll be covering over the next many years, right now. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is a joy as always to have you here with us, and we are excited to talk to you about something that is a very, very big deal. We cover Star Wars here, we cover Marvel, we cover DC, we cover all kinds of things. Nothing as big as this, because this is going to change everything. We are talking today about Sora, the artificial intelligence generating text-to-video program. And we're going to show you some videos that just came out. Now, we haven't covered this topic yet. It's been in the news for the past week or so. We've been looking at it, examining it, and trying to get this at a level of analysis where we can give you a timeline of what I think is going to happen. This is by Sai Rahul. It's a post. Sorry, Elon. And it says, Sora is getting too wild. 12 latest mind-blowing examples. Folks, I'm going to show you some of these videos. Remember that none of these are real. These are all generated by artificial intelligence. And they're all generated by artificial intelligence in a way that it was extremely easy for the human prompter. That's going to be the new job you're going to hear a lot about, is prompters and super prompters. Remember, none of these are real. None of these required 3D artists. None of these required artists of any sort, or at least not of the sort that you're used to. Here's what we've got. A skateboarding dog. Again, that dog's not real. The skateboard's not real. None of that is real. It's not a real park. All of this is generated by a computer. We go down here. We've got an F1 driver races through the streets of San Francisco during the day. The driver's point of view is captured from a helmet cam. You can see this is a more intricate prompt for the artificial intelligence to generate something. Here we have a surreal scene unfolds as a giant translucent jellyfish floats gracefully through a deserted cityscape at dusk. The scene is shot on 35mm film. You can see that. And folks, a reminder as well, we're going to talk about this in just a moment. These videos, they're not generated in any kind of way that Hollywood has been generating anything for the past 30 years. Next one up says, a small, chubby pug dog in glasses. Dog's not real, goggles not real, motorcycle not real. But to the average untrained eye, going to be very difficult. And the thing to think about, folks, as we look at this next one, a meticulously crafted diorama depicting a serene scene from Edo period Japan. As we watch these, remember that this is the beginning. This is pre-release product. And I don't suspect that every single thing that this AI generates is going to be this good. But I do suspect, as we look at this reading cat with glasses, I do suspect that in 3 to 4 years, you're going to have tremendously long, consistent videos of extreme high quality. And that's where we're headed. We'll talk about the positives and the negatives of that. A dark neon rainforest. See that dark neon rainforest there? A papercraft world. Here's the prompt. In a beautifully rendered papercraft world, a steamboat travels across a vast ocean with wispy clouds in the sky. Vast grassy hills line the distant background, and some sea life is visible near the papercraft ocean's surface. So why does this matter? Well, it matters a lot in almost every possible way. This is so big that it's hard to get your mind grasped around it. But we'll do our best here to analyze it in a way that you'll understand. You can see another one here. Close-up of a majestic white dragon with pearlescent silver-edged scales, icy blue eyes, elegant ivory horns, and misty breath. Take a look at that. So let's talk about why it matters. And we'll find here, this is a nice one. It's a sea turtle made out of jewels and glass. So let's talk about why it matters as this one plays. Number one, the Walt Disney Company just moved Moana 2 to Vancouver, and they're struggling with their animation studios. They've filled their animation studios with a bunch of people who are not interested in merit, apparently. They're ideologues. That's my assessment. Disney doesn't need those people anymore. And in fact, spending money from the animation studios, spending money on that size and scale of a team, that's going away. We're talking about a 90% reduction in animators, artists, etc. This is going to be moving to people who can prompt, super prompt, get a consistent result out of these types of artificial intelligence, because there will be competitors and there will be additional tools at great expense for people to use this and generate new things with this. You're looking at the it's just gone. 90% of all of the graphic artists out, gone, bye bye. This is going to put the power in the hands of creators. This is also, by the way, and this will take 4 to 5 years, I think, but this is also going to be the end of celebrities by and large. Now, there will be some that still remain, but there's no reason for celebrities to continue to exist if you can simply generate an actor who looks exactly like what you need them to look like. They act exactly the way you need them to act. They never get in trouble off camera. There is no risk involved whatsoever. They cannot be injured on set, and age is not a factor. So that's going to have a major impact on the need for celebrities. I do think there's a winner here, and one of the winners is going to be, I think, voice artists, because while I think that artificial intelligence will catch up and will have convincing performances, and I think that will especially take place probably in large-scale RPGs and MMOs and video games first, but I still think that humans have an edge for quite a while, maybe the next 4 to 5 years, have an edge in vocal abilities and convincing portrayals of emotion and all of that. So I think voice artists are the huge winners here. Huge, huge winners. I also think that there's probably, this one's more tough to figure out, but I think there's probably a place for motion capture artists still, especially if that motion capture data can be inserted into this, into these different artificial intelligence programs to generate these sorts of things. So, and again, we're looking at another one here, folks, underwater, but it's not really underwater. It's not real at all. But this is going to put the power into the storyteller, into those who can do super prompting. And we don't yet know what the subscription services are going to be for Sora, but it's going to be a huge, huge deal, not just Hollywood, but this really is going to democratize entertainment generation into the hands of just about everybody. You can, listen, there are very few scenes that have to be more than 1 minute long, which is the current cap on these videos. You can generate an entire movie when this comes out, depending on what the limits are in terms of how much you can generate a day and what the expense will be. Are they going to charge you tickets? I don't know. But somebody in their garage, a 15-year-old boy or girl in their garage, can generate an entire movie that will be on par with Hollywood at least 10 years ago, maybe today, in rather short order. That changes everything. So let's talk about how much it changes it, because some of you out there, this topic is a little bit esoteric. It's a little bit in the weeds, and you might be saying, well, okay, what's the practical impact today? Well, let's look at that. So out of the Hollywood Reporter, this coming out on February 22nd, Tyler Perry puts $800 million studio expansion on hold after seeing OpenAI's Sora. Jobs are going to be lost. Now, this is listen, folks, this is a product which has not yet been released, and this is $800 million not being spent because of an unreleased product, simply seeing what's going to happen. And you can bet that the Walt Disney Company, which did not know about this, I'm sure, looked at this. You can bet that Skydance looked at this. Listen, the ability to make a Pixar movie just became about 10,000 times easier, depending on how good this software is. And you can bet that in 3 to 4 years, it's going to be good enough that you don't need people to make Toy Story. You don't need people to make Monsters, Inc. You can just super prompt your way into it. And especially, again, if you are able to insert particular pieces of art into the artificial intelligence and have it keep that art consistent. I'll give you an example. There may be, remember we said 90% reduction in graphic artists from this? That 10% may be for people who want to create or needed to create original characters and original designs and an art style. Then you feed that into the program and just let it go. Let it create all kinds of scenes using those characters and maintain that consistency. Now that I can see. But you don't need the vast studios any longer. You also don't need extras in movies any longer. You also don't need to go traveling to any location any longer if this is, well, as good as it seems to be. I think there will be a premium, though, on the few that still do that, but you're talking about. The difference here, folks, is like when we went from having painters who painted families at great expense, and you had one big painting of your family, maybe, to, oh, photographs can do that for everybody. And how few painters are there right now painting the portraits of individuals? There's not many. There's not many. Here's the article. Let's read down here. Over the past 4 years, Tyler Perry had been planning an $800 million expansion of his studio in Atlanta, which would have added 12 sound stages to the 330-acre property. Now, this starts off very importantly because it specifies exactly how serious Hollywood is reacting in real time to what you're reacting to as you watch those videos. Now, however, those ambitions are on hold thanks to the rapid developments he's seen in the realm of artificial intelligence, including OpenAI's text-to-video model, Sora, which debuted February 15th, 10 days ago, and stunned observers with its cinematic video outputs. Folks, you'll notice I have not shown any videos in this analysis today from when this was released 10 days ago, and I did that on purpose. I'm only showing you videos that have been released later, which have been prompted out by the testers so that you can see this is ongoing. This is not a one-off situation where those videos were very impressive on day one of the pre-release and, that's it. No, they're still generating stuff every day, and it's only a matter of time until this gets into more and more hands. I don't think that it will come out this year because I think they'll wait until after the election for fear that there could be a huge number. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how disruptive this could be. But let's just leave it there and say I think 2025 is more likely. I could be wrong. Being told that it can do all these things is one thing, but actually seeing the capabilities, it was mind-blowing, he said in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter on Thursday, noting that his productions might not have to travel to locations or build sets with the assistance of the technology. That's exactly right. Folks, I think the first thing this program is going to do is it's going to replace the need to build sets. It's going to replace the volume. It's going to replace all of that stuff because you can simply do any kind of background you need to do in photorealistic form, and you can do it with any kind of film or technique you wish to do. As a business owner, Perry sees the opportunity in these developments, but as an employer, fellow actor, and filmmaker, he also wants to raise the alarm. In an interview between shoots at Thursday, Perry explained his concerns about the technology's impact on labor and why he wants the industry to come together to tackle AI. There's got to be some sort of regulations in order to protect us. If not, I just don't see how we survive. Folks, remember, we here on this channel, and we went way out on a limb, we told you that the strikes that happened last year, that they were largely due to artificial intelligence. And it's because the Actors Guild figured out that they can be totally replaced. And I'm here to tell you, for the vast majority of actors, they will be replaced. I'm telling you right now, the future does not have celebrities in movies still being the way forward. This is all going to switch to artificial intelligence. And the people who are going to be famous and popular are going to be the people who can generate the best movies. And, it's very difficult to look beyond 10 years, but I think that's where we're going right now. And just like you've seen the rise in YouTube personalities and TikTokers and Instagrammers and all of that, that is where I think this is going as well with entertainment. There's no reason that the average person will not be able to generate just as good a historical document or what looks like a CGI cartoon. It's not. It's generated a completely different way, which that takes us down the weeds. I could explain the difference in polygons and pattern recognition replication, but let's not go there today. But there's no reason that those people can't do exactly what Hollywood has been doing. But guess what? Without necessarily the propaganda. And once you have that kind of volume coming from that number of people, then you're going to see the cream of the crop rise up. Well, let me say this. There's also going to be, just like we saw with the Hollywood strikes, there's going to be a battle because an industry does not die just, it doesn't just acquiesce to not existing. And so you're going to see the fight for the survival of actors. Although I think actors will continue on in Broadway and in live action theater, that kind of thing. I think that will continue on. And there may be a real premium on that. That may be very desirable now. But there's going to be a fight. There's going to be many fights as studios and celebrities attempt to remain relevant. They're going to fight to have special tools only provided to them or at great expense to keep this out of the hands of the average person. But eventually technology takes over. And so this just can't, there's no way to stop it. There's no way to control it and keep it in the hands of just the rich and the few. After seeing Sora, what are your current feelings about how fast AI technology is moving and how it might affect entertainment in the near term? This was a question asked to Tyler Perry. I have been watching AI very closely and watching the advancements very closely. I was in the middle of and have been planning for the last 4 years about an $800 million expansion at the studio, which would have increased the backlot at a tremendous size. Of course, he goes on to talk about how that's gone. But this, let's get into what Tyler Perry sees happening. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. He says, I no longer would have to travel to locations. If I wanted to be in the snow in Colorado, it's text. If I wanted to write a scene on the moon, it's text. And this AI can generate it like nothing. If I wanted to have two people in the living room in the mountains, I don't have to build a set in the mountains. I don't have to put a set on my lot. I can sit in an office and do this with a computer, which is shocking to me. It makes me worry so much about all of the people in the business because as I was looking at it, I immediately started thinking of everyone in the industry who would be affected by this, including actors and grip and electric and transportation and sound and editors. And looking at this, I'm thinking this will touch every corner of our industry. And folks, that's why another Hollywood strike is looming. Another Hollywood strike could potentially be on the way. And you might say, well, what are you talking about, Pro? We just finished up with strikes. No, there is another one out there that could happen, and that's what we're paying attention to. We are watching very closely as the chance of a strike from IATSE could happen, and it's definitely more likely, not less likely, because of artificial intelligence. And I guarantee you that IATSE, that they're going to strike and they're going to try to protect themselves from this. And who is IATSE, folks? They're not the WGA, that's the Writers Guild. They're not SAG-AFTRA, that's the actors. They're not the Directors Guild. They're the Everybody Else Guild. They are the people that Tyler Perry is talking about. And you can bet that there is going to be a battle royale because it is the battle for absolute survival coming up. And you can bet that animators also, that they've got to be freaked out right now because what took 1,000 people to do 5 minutes ago is going to take one person or two people to do in just a few months, maybe. Maybe it already is that way. Depends on when this comes out. And we'll do one more question from Tyler Perry, and then we'll wrap this video up because I think you're all gathering how big this is. But I do want to say that what we've been talking about is basically the next 5 years. In the next 10 years, there's absolutely nothing stopping you or me or anyone else from simply saying, hey, TV, here's the story I want to see today. And the TV just generates it via a cloud server that uses artificial intelligence to create the entire story, whole cloth. The question is, how are you thinking about approaching the threat that AI poses to certain job categories at your studio and on your productions? And it says, as Tyler Perry says, everything right now is so up in the air. It's so malleable. The technology is moving so quickly. I feel like everybody in the industry is running 100 miles an hour to try and catch up, to try and put in guardrails, and to try and put in safety belts to keep livelihoods afloat. In other words, they're looking at this in the same way that painters looked at the photograph, right? They're looking at this as in the same way that every industry you've ever seen that went the way of the dodo due to technology. They're looking at it the same way. They're talking about it the same way. It's coming. But me, just like every other studio in town, we're all trying to figure it all out. I think we're all trying to find the answers as we go, and it's changing every day. And it's not just our industry, but it's every industry that AI will be affecting, from accountants to architects. If you look at it across the world, how it's changing so quickly, I'm hoping that there's a whole government approach to help everyone be able to sustain. And what I'm going to say, folks, is I think that where we're headed is a world of creativity. We're headed to a world of abundance if corruption does not destroy that. And I understand the fear and the worry of folks out there who are looking at this and saying, oh my gosh, what will my job be? The truth probably is it'll be different. The truth probably is that you'll probably be doing something else, just in the same way that the painters no longer paint portraits. They do something else. They became Photoshop photographers. They became CGI artists. And, well, there's going to be some super prompters out there. There's going to be some people working very hard to make sure that there is a proper lip syncing in these artificial intelligence movies to the words that are being said. There's going to be all kinds of jobs that we cannot yet imagine as a result of this. But the jobs of today are going away, and they're going away in an abrasive, in a disruptive sort of fashion. And you're going to see a grand fight in the next few years over all of this. It also is going to liberate, though, the creators to do whatever they can possibly imagine with movies. And that is an exciting time for all of us. Folks, this is the transformative horizon that we all face. We're going to continue explaining it. Last year, in 2023, I started ringing the bell on artificial intelligence and talking about how actors were going to be going away eventually and all of this. And people said, "Pro, you're crazy. They can never do this." Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. The beautiful thing, though, is it's not doing it by itself. It's going to do it at the behest of true creatives. And the more creative you are, the greater stories you can tell, the better it's going to do. May we all pray that the people who are going to be over this, as well as the people who are going to make policies regarding it, that they will be wise, because corruption here will have a much bigger effect given the scale and the scope of what this is. Folks, that's the content for today. We hope you enjoyed this video and this analysis. We hope we presented it in a way that elevated your day in somehow, some way that you would not find anywhere else. If that's true, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we always say, as we end here, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
This is Wilton the Troll reporting for That's Park Place, and I'm surrounded by loving and adoring people who are peacefully trying to make sure that poor kids aren't cold in the winter. And just behind me, you can see a totally natural bonfire for baking cookies or making marshmallows.
Yeah, so, Wilson, we really appreciate the effort and stuff, but we're looking for real and, accurate news reporting on that Park Place.
So not like most news outlets, huh?
No.